I just love the cold weather. It makes me so Pat Boone all over again with my sweaters. I just love these things. Sit around the house, and there's a chill out right now that we absolutely love. Folks, thank you for joining us today. Does fungus cause Alzheimer's disease? Listen, this impacts a huge number of families throughout America. What is its etiology? What is the cause? Not what new medicine can we give a patient. What's its cause? Let's address that. Dr. Lee Callum, a good buddy of mine, a cardiologist, started something called the Academy of Complementary and Integrative Medicine, ACIM. As you know, I speak at some of his lectures. Well, he's here joining us today. A blast from our past. A couple of years ago, we made these incredible pecan nut bars, and we're going to show you that segment because they're still good, and I think you'll love them. And then finally, my doctor won't run a fungal test. Kyle is going to join me, and we're going to address that question. All that, and I assure you, as you know from watching for many years, a whole lot more on today's No Calls. My name is Doug Kaufman. For the past 40 years, I've dedicated my life and even my career to finding the root cause of disease. Join me in a team of physicians, pharmacists, and scientists, and soon you too will know the cause. You know, I know many years ago I worked at one of the big hospitals out here in Dallas with a guy named Dr. David Weekly. He was a dermatologist, but he really opened up his practice when he began to see what diet would do for skin patients to other patients. And from time to time, he brought in a family practice doctor, and from time to time we would see Alzheimer's. Kind of new 25, 30 years ago in there. But on several occasions I asked the doctors, the internist in there, if I could try diflucan. It's the one-pill vaginal yeast cure. Could we try this on Alzheimer's patients? Only we didn't have the one-pill vaginal yeast cure yet accepted for diflucan. It was an AIDS drug. So the doctor said, yeah, give them 5 of the diflucan and change their diets and see if they get better. And I'm telling you folks, Alzheimer's patients really did well on antifungal medicines and the diet, the Kaufman diet, that seems to starve fungus from your body. So what causes Alzheimer's? Maybe not in every case, but we've got to open our eyes and look at this. Here's some of the past work I've done in this area. Does fungus cause Alzheimer's? A number of tests have been carried out in the blood of Alzheimer's disease patients, and get this, there is a disseminated fungal infection in the majority of Alzheimer's disease patients. So says the European Journal of Clinical and Microbiological Infectious Disease in the year 2014. Did you get that? Alzheimer's patients seem to have fungus circulating in their blood. Wouldn't that call for any reasonable doctor to prescribe an antifungal for them and then starve? You know, diet is essential. I'll tell you, the diflucan, without the diet, I think you're missing something huge. And this is how we used to help some, not all. I think any disease progresses to a point where you can't back it off. But in its early stage, I think people with Alzheimer's or dementia or aging problems in the brain could be helped with this. Prevagen and antifungals. I think you'd be on the right track, okay? Then next is this. Does fungus cause Alzheimer's? Look at this. In a recent medical study, and I'll admit this is now not recent, I did this several years ago, 21 autopsies were done of people who died. 11 died of Alzheimer's disease, and 10 died of other causes. So if you were studying Alzheimer's disease, what would all of this tell you, right? What if those 11 patients who died had yeast in their body, but the 10 controls who died of something else didn't? Wouldn't that be 100% accurate? That a small study, you'd have to do thousands of studies, but wouldn't that be 100% accurate that patients with yeast or fungus in their blood die of Alzheimer's? Is fungus the cause? Okay, look at the results. And this again was done in 2015. In all 11 Alzheimer's disease patients, they notice fungus in the brain and in the blood tissue, all 11. But the 10 controls who didn't die of other cause, who didn't die of Alzheimer's disease, patients had no fungus present. None in the 10 autopsies that died of other causes, 100% of the 11 that died in the brain tissue, Alzheimer's disease, and in the body tissues, they had this fungus. Folks, let me just tell you, and again, I'm going to take the fifth on this. Maybe not 100% of Alzheimer's patients have fungal diseases. Maybe 100% of them die of fungal diseases if this tiny study is any indication. But here's what I want you to do. If you've got a loved one who has Alzheimer's, many of these people are now in institutions. They have Alzheimer's care properties now where we put patients in and we work with them and families free to come in. And I know one thing about 100% of Alzheimer's patients in those institutions. They eat. And I have to wonder what they're eating. Lots of desserts, lots of soda pops, lots of candy, anything to feed the fungus, to keep this infection going. If you begin starving fungus with the Kaufman diet and simultaneously tell the doctor, look, I want to try diflucan, or there's a newer one, voriconazole it's called, and you can watch this show again on our website and slow it down and get the names. Voriconazole is the name. And I also want to use nystatin because Alzheimer's patients all seem to have tummy problems, bloating, belching, gas, constipation, diarrhea, indigestion, GERD, etc. That's because there's a fungal link, a stomach link to this brain problem, I really believe. Look, it's worth a try. It'll take a month, it won't cost you a dime, and maybe, just maybe, 10 or 20% of you will have great news after that month goes by. You know, I don't know the exact date. I met the man I'm going to interview right now. He's a cardiologist, and he's been a dear friend for maybe 30 years. Dr. Lee Callum joins me right now. I wish every doctor could step inside his brain for, 2 days and see what this doctor sees. He no longer has a practice dedicated to cardiology because he's one of the guys that figured out this ticker is hooked to everything else. And when this ticker's out of sync, so is everything else. So welcome to his world. Wellness is a team effort, so says ACIM. Yeah. That stands for the Academy of Comprehensive Integrative Medicine on your website, which is great, by the way.
Thank you.
You say it's really a team effort, and people are running to a gastroenterologist and a dentist and a psychiatrist. And you're saying, wait a minute, you got to be part of this team.
Yeah, we don't want to have parts treaters. We want to have someone that treats the whole patient. What a novel thought.
Yeah.
And, our vision also is that the patient is on a pedestal, and then surrounding that pedestal are all the other people involved in their life and trying to help them to get well. And it's not just family and friends, but it's also the health practitioner on a lower level than the patient, the other allied health personnel, the supplement manufacturer, the device, medical device manufacturer, the organic farmer. All those people are surrounding this person, trying to provide what they need to get well.
And sometimes, Dr. Cowden, you got a pharmacist there. You know, sometimes to intervene.
Yeah.
I've often said if my blood pressure is 210 over 150. I'm not going to put a poultice on my heart, right? I'm going to go on a blood pressure medicine, get it down, save my life, and then figure out why it went up. One of the reasons I love ACIM, and you've been involved with this for many years, he is the chairman of the Scientific Advisory Board, and this advisory board is very, very amazing, is because you empower the little guys. The lay people who have helped the friend next door, the buddy at school or church, their moms by changing her diet and so forth. You have empowered us to begin really educating ourselves and then helping more people. Isn't that what the Academy, one of the things they do?
Yeah, one of many things. We want to see integrated practitioners learn more and more so that they can help more and more people, but we also want to take people that don't know, that they don't have degrees, that are not licensed, that want to learn more, and help them to become comprehensive wellness coaches if they choose. And so then they can actually help other practitioners in their practice and help recover people's health.
The older I get, I have more and more friends that end up in a hospital, and I end up walking into a hospital and seeing them, and they frighten me. I walk in there, my blood pressure, you want to make hypertension, Doug Kaufman, hypertensive? Walk into a hospital. I go from 120 over 80 to 220 over 80.
Yeah.
What about a health coach in a hospital? I wish nurses who are retiring, God bless each and every one of you, would take on 5 patients, look at their charts, mistakes are made, not a little bit, all the time in a hospital because there's so many patients there, folks. We have trusted someone we don't really know with our health instead of trusting ourselves first.
Right. Yeah, there's lots of deaths in the hospital every year because of medical mishaps and pharmaceutical reactions and so on. And a lot of that's avoidable if a person has a guardian angel, I call it, with them in the hospital. That would be a family member, a friend. And if they don't have anybody, then reach out to the church or reach out to our organization. We provide somebody that comes to the hospital with you and watches what they do.
Okay, that's ACIM Connect. There it is, right below where we're talking here. ACIMconnect.com. Become an ACIM member,
Right.
and get involved, learn, and then go out and help other people. That's what it's all about.
Yeah.
Because his job is to teach you. Then your job is to teach them. That's what ACIM is all about. Thank you so much for coming.
Thank you.
Okay, now going outside with Daniel, and he's going to teach us butterfly hip raises, proving that I don't know everything. I never knew butterflies had hips. Watch this.
I'm sure you've known somebody, maybe a grandmother or grandfather who's had a hip issue. I know I have. My grandmother had 2 hip operations, and if I could wind the clock back and show her a few exercises that would mitigate the need for her to go under the knife and to have to do all kinds of rehab, I would show her exactly this exercise. This is called a butterfly hip lift. All you need to do is to lay on the ground, put your heels together, toes come in tight towards the knee, just to protect the knee. Now all I want to do is drive into the outside of my heels and lift my hips to the sky. The higher you can go, the better. It's not about speed or about number, but you'll immediately feel the difference. The higher you go, the better. All I'm doing here is letting my gluteus medius, the little outside portion of your buns, get strength and move blood and tissue through that area. And basically what you're doing is you are strengthening the ball and socket joint. Here's your hip. Here's where it inserts. The tighter this is, the less you're going to be at risk for falling over and damaging or rupturing that. So again, guys, there's so many things that you can do that just take a few minutes that will really bless you and benefit you and keep you from having to spend your hard-earned money on operations and surgeries at the end of your life. And who here really wants to do rehab at 90 years old? I know that I don't, and I know that your kids don't, because they're the ones that are gonna have to be taking care of you. So encourage you to try this simple exercise, the butterfly hip lift. Get those hips feeling good and strong and mobile, and take your, the latter years of your life into your own hands, where you're able to enjoy your time, enjoy your mobility. As always, thanks for checking us out on Know the Cause.
This recipe is going to be on the website because through the years we love it. Jordan has 3 children. We invited him to come in after he made some of these pecan nut bars for us. We invited him to teach us on television. Watch this. You have 3 children. Mm-hmm. So by way of background, Jordan joined us a couple of years ago, and if you have computer problems on our website, this is the guy.
Don't point towards me.
He is a part of our IT department here who helps us with website and adventure and so forth. I had no idea a couple of years ago when we met that he would have such talents. But the kids, you let the kids sit there and eat some walnuts, and you thought, wait a minute.
Yeah, because we were going from sugary snacks that had food coloring in it, and I wanted something better after I started learning the phase 1, the phase 2 diet, and this just was obvious. It's an obvious choice. We like to eat. Pecans. We had pecan trees in the backyard, and so we started mixing it with some coconut oil and butter. And
we watched Jordan start to pull his belt in and in and in. So that's been an exciting addition also. So we're driving somewhere, Branson, Missouri.
Branson, Missouri, yep.
We always have, little goodies. We bring carrots and all this good stuff. And John pulls out something from the back of the truck and says, Jordan made these for us. Well, we didn't know Jordan could cook. We pull out these things, and I'm telling you, they are delicious. And he's going to teach you now how to make these for your kids or yourself. Just pop them in the refrigerator. They're in little cupcake pieces. And you can make it phase 1 or phase 2. Yep. So teach us here.
What we're doing here, this is going to be the phase 2 version. It just sticks better together, a little bit better. It's just.
And the phase 2 is only the honey.
Right. That's the only thing that's different. Is we're going to start off. You're going to take about 2 tablespoons of coconut oil.
Just like Kyle believes in a little fat.
Yep. And your grass-fed butter.
A little more fat.
And then we also have flaxseed meal here.
Ooh.
Yeah.
I like where you're going with this.
This is good. What you're going to do, basically all these ingredients just mix together, and you're just going to
preheat this.
Preheat this to about medium.
Okay.
And you're going to roast it for about 5 to 8 minutes. If you want them crunchier, just let them roast a little
Are you
longer.
stirring this thing while you're making it?
Yeah, you're going to
Okay.
be constantly stirring it.
Just for the guys out there, how long does it take to make these?
In the pan, it's only about 8 minutes.
Okay.
Or if you, like I said, if you want it crunchier, you can leave them a little bit longer. Just
Good.
watch, make sure you keep stirring it.
Okay.
And then what we have here is your pecans. This is 2 cups.
Are those out of your tree?
These are not out of the tree. We cleaned out that, and it's a little wet outside, so they're all rotten. And we have 1 cup of sliced pecans.
Ooh. No, those almonds.
Almonds, excuse me, sliced almonds. And what do we got left here? We got
The honey.
1/4 cup of honey.
I could taste the honey in it, and I love
Yep.
the way it held it together.
Yes, it actually is, between
The
this
glue.
and the flaxseed mill, it binds it all together,
Okay.
and so it
Yep.
works really well. So we're going to take the 1/4 cup of honey, and you're just going to be constantly stirring this on medium heat.
Okay. This is invisible, but it's
Yeah.
really the stevia.
There is something in there.
Yeah, there is. See a little stevia in there? Let me put something in
there
so I
you
feel
go.
important. A doppel.
I think
And then
I think
there's-
Kyle likes this next one here.
What is that?
This is pink Himalayan sea salt.
Pink Himalayan sea
Yeah, this is,
salt. I love that.
This
name.
is the 1/2 teaspoon, and this is to taste, so you can
Okay,
a little
good.
more, a little less.
And
Cinnamon.
cinnamon. Okay, I
I like cinnamon, so I put about a teaspoon in. So I really like the cinnamon.
I see Kyle's influence all over this thing.
Yeah.
Pink Himalayan sea salt. Now, what you would normally do is stir all of that up and keep an eye on it for
Yep.
8-10 minutes, something
Yeah,
like that.
like I said, sometimes if you don't want it as crunchy or as cooked, because you can taste it because you're roasting it the whole time.
Now, you put it into cupcake.
That's right. After it's done, I just press it into a cupcake pan and stick it in the freezer.
Yeah.
And in about an hour or two, they're all together. You can put them in the fridge at that point.
Okay.
And eat them when you want.
Your choice, Denny and Kristen or Kyle and you? Kyle and you.
Yeah,
all
Kyle
the way,
and me.
all the way. Okay,
Definitely.
now, Kyle.
You know,
Oh,
these taste like they have pink Himalayan. Yeah, that's pink Himalayan sea salt, isn't it?
Yeah.
Do they have blue Himalayan sea salt for men? Or is it all pink
It's
Himalayan?
all pink.
These
are unreal.
Absolutely delicious, folks. You've got to make these for your family. The recipe, do we have a recipe up?
Yes, I'm gonna have a
Okay.
recipe up for you.
He will put it up. Trust me, your kids will love this. Down the hatch.
Oh, you're killed it, man. Love it.
Okay, we just cheated. We saw the questions. You guys are amazing, right? Every week on my website, knowthecause.com, I try and do a live 30 minutes, 40 minutes, something like that, because Kyle, some of these people have written to me and said, my son is dying.
Yep.
He's in the final stages of something that may be fungal linked and maybe I could help. By the time we record that, or we get the message in from the person on Facebook, and it goes on TV 6 weeks later. Once we film something, it takes weeks and weeks to edit, uplink to a satellite, and close caption and so forth. So what I want to do is respond to these questions more quickly. Would you help me?
Sounds good.
You know the answers, or
I
do I
don't
have to
know,
be
but
part of
we'll
this?
see.
Okay, good. First question, what if your doctor won't run a fungal test? What do you do? My son-in-law is in the hospital. He has an oxygen problem, but he's getting obese. He is hungry since he was a little boy. He can't control it. He's lost, or he is up to 500 pounds at least. Ask Vesta. When you read that before, you came up with the golden answer, and that is, sometimes a fungal quotient test supersedes a fungal test, right? The fungal quotient, are you gaining a lot of weight? Do you find yourself with an uncontrollable appetite? Are carbohydrates winning the war? Breads, pastas, grains, sugars, etc. And so it's, how do you go from a 7-pound baby to 500 pounds plus? You put a cake of yeast in the dough and then put it in the oven. Now, he's not 350 degrees, he's 98.6. So he's not going to go like this in an hour. He's going to go like this through the decades, slowly, slowly. I think in this case, would I want a fungal test or would I want to go on antifungals? Yeah, but they would be foods in my diet. If he's not in an institution, then I would sure be looking at taking the next couple of months and changing his diet.
Well, and the question becomes, what's the purpose of doing a fungal test? I mean, what are you going to do regardless of what the outcome of that test says? The fact is that this poor guy's diet needs to change, and it needs to change in a hurry. I'm sure his appetite is ravenous. When Fungus gets on board, it begins taking resources. That means it begins eating food, and it can actually create chemicals that make you hungry.
Yep.
You describe an appetite that is ravenous and out of control. If we can starve the fungus, and it's going to take some time, no doubt about it, but if they can do something on the medical side by providing some more antifungals, or on the supplement side with antifungals like oregano oil and olive leaf and all the rest, little by little, I think that this can get under control.
Yeah, it's going to take time. Remember, it took a lot of years to get there. Next question from Jose. Here's a difficult question. How do we make local governments aware of the dangers inside mold-infested buildings, rental properties? Wow. What a loaded question. Jose, you got 2 hours? There's a guy named Luke Curtis. He's an MD. He is on our website. When you see the science of fungus, many of you have gone into that link on our website. Luke writes all of those. He has published 90 papers in the scientific literature on mold-infested buildings. I think politics is very involved. Years ago, 20 years ago perhaps, people were saying, hey, I have mold in my house. Along came Know the Cause. I was teaching. Hey, I have mold in my house. And to remediate a house costs hundreds of thousands of dollars, Jose. And insurance companies then took the posture, and I would have too if I was an insurance company, hey, mold causes no problem. All you got to do is go to the American Medical Association and say, mold doesn't cause a problem, does it? Do you think it does? No, then it doesn't. Mold causes huge problems. Mold can kill you. And yet there are those out there, because of politics, who say mold doesn't cause any problem at all. Get out of the building. Move on. Okay? Next question. Hi, Doug. I have a decaying wisdom tooth that needs to come out. I have constant sinus drainage. I do phase 1, which we now call the Kaufman diet, and I take supplements. Do you think the tooth could be causing problems? Sure, with my sinuses. Which supplements should I take to protect myself from the x-rays and the tooth coming out? You know, I am so blessed to have, and I'm not saying this because he's standing here, but to have a guy with a chemistry degree who loves supplements. I'm going to have him answer that for you.
I think all of the antifungal supplements, but grapefruit seed extract that you slosh around and gargle. You're going to hate me because it's so bitter, but do it anyway. I think high-dose vitamin C, if you can even get intravenous vitamin C for something like this, that's great. Obviously, if the tooth needs to come out, all of these things will work better afterwards also.
And I love, for x-rays, I love beta-glucan. Okay, so I hope that helps each and every one of you. Thank you, Kyle, for joining me today.
Thank you.
You bet. Isn't that powerful? My doctor won't run a fungal test. Folks, that's because he or she just doesn't believe fungus is the etiology of the problem. You met Dr. Cowden today, and it was a short time ago I spoke at one of his lectures. Huge number of physicians there. It was in Florida. And these are doctors that I would describe as hungry. No, they didn't eat a lot of food. They're hungry for knowledge. Most doctors get their MD degree, and that's a license to stop. Some doctors get their MD degree, and that's a license to start, right? It isn't that plaque on the wall. It's the interest they have gained from their patients. Every patient represents a thumbprint. So whereas tomatoes might trigger this patient's headaches, they might not trigger this patient's headaches. Might be fungus, we just don't know. Keep an open mind as you become a fellow FUPO head. FUPO stands for fungus until proven otherwise. Thank you so much. Those nut bars, pecan nut bars, it's on our website. You must make some of those for your family. You are absolutely going to love them. Thank you, Kyle. Thank you so much, everybody who's joined us today. Daniel, thank you. Dr. Cowden, thank you especially for joining us today. God bless you, folks. We'll see you again next time.